We live in a small space and we like it when everything has at least two purposes. And one of the most prominent features in our Airstream Tommy Bahama edition is the lit up bar. And right now it has the purpose of storage underneath, and it's a flat surface on top, and we think we can do better. So you may have seen last week where we started to make modifications to the bar to make it into a standing desk. This week we continue, further improvements are made. We've got proof of concept here. It does actuate and go up. They want to basically rock and sway. So I'm going to mount this on an angle, and the linear actuator should push it up. Looking for a fixed connection at the top of the drawer glide so that it goes up and down. The trouble with the linear actuators is they've got essentially a hinge at the top, and the table wants to move.
And so you're digging for?
We've got some low profile nuts in here, nuts and bolts.
And you need a bracket?
Yes, angle bracket, I think. Should be able to figure out what'll work. So this test is going to be with 2 linear actuators and 1 drawer glide that hopefully keeps them parallel where we want them. We'll see.
Is that both of them? That back corner
That
looks low.
left one ran a little more than the right one. I don't know if they were synced. So we've installed 2 linear actuators and 2 drawer glides, hopefully that steady them, and we're going to see how it goes.
All right. I'll weight the front edge here, and you do the sketchy power.
Sketchy power.
That's not wanting to go up and stay up.
So we'd like to see if it's a little more steady once it's in place and against the wall, but we've got an issue here where we've got to trim these down because we think they're going to scrape. So I'd like to do that before we move it back.
This will be the first hands-free unless there's an emergency.
Down trip?
Down trip.
All right. Just about ready?
That front glide wants to drop, and I can't figure out why.
Balance.
I mean, we have
This corner
proof of concept, but
seems to be heavier than that corner. Not sure.
okay, let's slide it back into place and
Okay.
see how we can stiffen up the ride. Do you want me to help? Where the KitchenAid goes, do you want to just pop 1 or 2 screws down to secure it to the floor?
I think we're good. This worked last time to keep it in place.
Okay.
We didn't put the felt on.
Not yet, but we're going to.
Okay.
Let's see how it actuates from under the window. You've stepped it out.
Yeah.
Put it down. I think the whole thing can go backwards a 1/2 inch. It's pretty late. We're in the throes of picking up stuff, and I'm kind of excited to test drive this tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to do about that mess yet, and we have a lot of like cord management and sawdust, but I may need to reconfigure my drawers. We'll see.
Toggle switch that we've been waiting for has arrived today. Last night we were testing the standing desk. Shauna was video editing, and we've got some adjustments to make. Here's what happened. So standing and leaning causes a twist, and it racks and loads the ball bearing glides, and it will pop them apart. And so I've got a design around that now so that we don't have that problem. The reason I chose the ball bearing glides was to keep everything moving parallel and in the same plane up, and to compensate for the fact that with the drawers on this side, there's no space here for a full linear actuator to fit. So the solution I've come up with is to get a 3rd linear actuator. I overnighted it. What we're gonna do is put it on the back corner here, and I'm hoping that 3 keeps us exactly in the plane we need to be at. and everything will work even though there isn't one on the front
I'm
corner.
concerned it's going to be flexy on that front corner.
That is a valid concern. My hope is that it holds strong enough back there, both up and down, that you don't get the rock, because it can't rock. Now, we ran into some difficulty by not using the switch, because just using the actuator and touching the wires to the power source, I couldn't get the actuators to quite run perfectly parallel because the wires would jiggle off. And in some sense, it wasn't a very good test, so I'm really excited to be able to put this in and run them correctly. I originally bought this style actuator so that I could customize the angle that they were installed at. I didn't know exactly what I would want, but the problem now, once I've got them locked in at that angle, is that the head is still floppy, and so I've solved that by adding a nut and bolt through here to fix this angle.
Right, because what happened was the solid surface was wobbling.
How would you describe the action when it was fully up?
Sort of like wobbled like a rocking horse or like a wobble chair.
Yeah, like a rocking horse. Yeah, it was a little strange. We can fix it though. We're gonna put a nut and bolt through and fix these at a certain angle.
I wanted to suggest another way to add some like rigidity. And right where the piston, the actuator goes up and gets thinner, if we were to clamp it to the rigidity of the wall in addition, it might help remove some of that flop and wobble.
I think I agree. Just walking back from the office now with, you'll never guess. Okay, I'll tell you. It's a fourth actuator. We're gonna put a fourth actuator on the standing desk. We've had a bit of a fail here. I've had to use 4 actuators, which means I can't preserve the drawers. I'm gonna have to figure out how to maintain the storage here in an attractive way after I get the actuators all working correctly. But I will say I'm very happy with how they're working right now to raise and lower the desk.
It's hung up on the back corner. It's not going down. Go back up. I don't like the way that happened.
One of the unintended benefits of having this raise up at an angle to clear the blinds is it also gives it a step out and creates essentially a toe kick, so that when you're standing up close to it, there's plenty of room for your knees and feet. I'm using this 5-way Wago to connect 4 actuators to a power wire. Essentially, they work like a DIN rail terminal block or a distribution block. I really like using these because it allows me to change the wiring configuration if necessary, and it keeps things really neat and tidy. Right now I have a temporary location for the switch, but I haven't really talked about how it's wired. If you'd like to do a similar project with linear actuators, wiring the switch actually isn't that difficult, and you can pretty much try and check and test it out to see how it works. I started out testing the red and black wires straight onto power just to see how they worked, and it really helped me understand what I was working with.
All right, where does the project stand, Andrew?
It's coming along great. It's not done.
You know, but
I had to do more to the insides of the cabinet than I expected, but check this out. So these are a little louder than I would have hoped, but I think once we have faces on here, that'll help deaden the sound.
so they don't actuate at the same rate?
I think the weights are different on them, and the angles aren't perfect, but I think they're pretty good.
Okay.
I'm very happy with the stability of this. I'm got it at full 1 foot of lift right now. Maybe it's good for me, maybe a little high for Shauna, but I'm kind of chucking it around right now, testing it out. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty solid. Now there's a lot more work to do. We've got to figure out a better solution for the wiring for plugging things in when we're using the desk. We've got to figure out how to get the shelves and drawers back in here and functional, so we're going to keep working. Now, the project definitely needs a lot of refining, but here in its prototype stage, I think we've definitely got a full proof of concept, and gives us something to work with to make it better. I've had to come up with a way for these to hold the angle that I want the actuator to be at, so I've just used angle brackets here to support this, and it works on 3 of them. However, this back corner with the door cut out, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that a little bit differently. In my initial design, where I tried to use drawer glides on the corners rather than actuators, there was too much wobble, and what these 4 actuators do with this corner bracket used as a support, that takes all of the forward, backward, and most of the side to side wobble out of the design. This is what I've arrived at as a rear support for the 4th actuator. It's not pretty, but I believe it's doing the job.
I still haven't found a place for everything, but progress. Progress has been made.
So this will be Shauna's first day working with this. Right now she's doing a little video editing. Systems testing so far, but we've got it working, stable, and right where we want it.
Really pretty stable.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to lean, which is what's going to happen realistically.
Yeah. We have a few goals to finish the appearance of this. One is to essentially cover the top of this so that there's an inner top to the cabinet, which will give us a shelf when it's raised up in the standing desk position. Right off the bat, the biggest benefit is that I don't have to do a bunch of setup and takedown for the work at home infrastructure. And over the next week or 2, we expect to be using this and making changes. After we're sure that the function is right, we're going to come back and revisit the appearance of it and get everything as cosmetically wonderful as we can. This cabinet door is no longer going to work with this hinge configuration. I've gone through the Airstream and replaced quite a few of the hinges, and for the most part it's pretty easy to do, and we just retain the base plates on the side right here. That's a base plate that comes off separate. So what I'll need to do is come up with a different and low profile way to hinge this door and get rid of the support post that has the hinge bases on it. Little project comes from a big project. Glad I'm taking a minute to work on this one. It's not particularly bad, at least to my eye, but it just doesn't stay latched back to the base. So I've got a good one to replace it with, and I'm just going to do that real quick. How's it going? Need ID again, or?
Oh yeah, I'll just need to scan it real quick.
Well, that was a good trip to the scrapyard. Didn't film any of the business end of it, but glad I went. Had some stainless, some aluminum, old wire. It all added up. I fully recognize that I don't have the kind of storage space necessary to run a scrap load very frequently. Took advantage of some stuff that piled up pretty quick, filled up the back of my truck, and sent it. I got the propanes all disconnected here to take them to fill. Got the little baby propane connected. Realized I really don't need propane. I mean, I picked up these a second time and realized they're not really empty at all. You know what? After all that, I think I'm gonna hitch these back up. I think they got another month at least in them. We're using electric for the hot water heater, kettle, all that. I don't think there's any rush to fill these. At least the little baby propane got a few minutes exercise. Time for some truck maintenance. Safety sandals. As always, safety first. We've owned this truck for a while now. Based on the mileage, the spark plug should have already been replaced. We've never done it. Suggesting nobody's ever done it. Got little sticky baby acorns landing everywhere right now. Got some evidence that there's rodents wandering around in here and hanging out, and I don't know what we can do to dissuade them, but I'd like to. If you can leave us a comment with a good suggestion if you've dealt with rodents kind of foraging in your vehicle. Anything to deter would be appreciated. Let us know. Today I've got 8 spark plugs to replace. And I got this gear wrench spark plug wrench because while I have wrenches that would probably work, this is a special spark plug wrench with magnetic collar up inside, so I'm hoping that helps us along. Haven't actually verified yet if it fits. Perfect. I went ahead and bought the OEM recommended Denso Iridium spark plugs from Napa. First thing I've got to do is take the coil out, which has got a 10mm socket holding it in. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 going backwards. I'm gonna do those first. Wish me luck. First time I've done spark plugs since around on Dreamboat, if I remember correctly. What I don't want to see is erosion of the metal here, and I don't. I didn't buy this truck new, so finding that it's been running the stock plugs is probably good news. I'm just gonna put this one in and move on to the next one. I'm half done with one side, which means I'm a quarter of the way done. It's actually harder to work around the wires and such than it is to actually get the plugs out. But I'm gonna keep at it, keep it posted. Got to the third one, dropped the gasket way down. You can see it way down on the frame member. It's gonna be fun. Third one going in. Shouldn't be any surprises here. Have to say the next one, last one back, actually looks like it has more space around it than the one I just pulled out, so should be able to get this side without any trouble. Now coming back to the other side, the air intake might be a problem. All done with the driver's side. Really didn't have to make any modifications. Had to fight with the wiring harness a little bit. I untaped one thing, taped it back, just to have access. Otherwise we're good. 4 down, 4 to go. The middle 2 on this side are really easy. First one on this side might be a little bit annoying. I think I'm gonna take the airbox cover off just to help me get in there. I've opted to loosen the 10mm on the coil across all of them. Sometimes you need an extension and sometimes you need 3. Six down, 2 to go. Just hoping for no surprises on the last 2. I stitching everything back up here. Let me go over tools I use real quick. Don't trust me before I get started on what tools I need. Trust me afterwards. I had to cut a little bit of electrical tape. That was the easiest thing to use. Flat screwdriver to pry a little clip off to get a little more slack on the wiring diagram. Use both the flat screwdrivers for that. Little knife I tried, but actually the cutters work better for the electrical tape. Socket wrench. Other socket wrench, give me a slightly different hand combination. 10mm, also 10mm, and then the 5/8 gear wrench for the plug itself. And then you can see I got a range of extensions here. That was crucial, the range of extensions, to give me the right combination and the right distance away. And there you have it. Those are the tools I used.